Christian games tend to be
cheesy,
sentimental,
and usually a copycat of another game.
Today we review a game based on that criteria must not be a Christian game,
even though it takes place in the Bible.
Hi, I'm Glenn.
I'm Cheryl.
And this is
Couple
versus
Cardboard.
Okay, so what are we reviewing today?
We are reviewing a game called Kings of Israel.
All right.
And it is just got launched on Kickstarter.
And so what kind of game is it?
It's a cooperative game.
Yeah. So the idea is that God's nation of Israel is turning away, and as they turn away either towards other gods or just towards their own aims, sin kind of amasses in the different cities.
Right.
Right. Okay.
And the prophet is trying to prevent that from continuing and get rid of sin, turn people back towards God.
Okay. And I play a what?
A prophet.
Okay. And so it's kind of like I have two basic goals. I have to kind of manage the overall sin. You can't run out of the little sin cubes, so you have a certain number that you start with. You can't run out of those. And in addition to that, you also have to kind of be building positively these different little altars along the way.
Right.
Yeah. So the full disclosure of this one is, unlike a lot of themes, there's kind of this weird compulsion where you have to kind of say ahead of time your religious affiliation before reviewing a game like Kings of Israel. We are Christians, we love Jesus, we love the Bible, and that is something that we care about very deeply and is very important to us. When it comes to Christian stuff, like Christian games or Christian music, even a lot of like Christian books.
I'm not so into it.
No. And like we said in the intro, when it comes to Christian games, a lot of the ones that I've played are usually either really cheesy, they are incredibly sentimental. Often there's no competition, there's no are you going to get better at it? They're just kind of like you're shifting things around while often just kind of learning things, and often you maybe aren't even doing that very well. I am usually on the lookout for games with good Christian themes, or at least with good, religious themes. So I love, for example, Here I Stand. But Here I Stand is very different because it's a historical game.
Right. And
it has a massive religious aspect to it.
For sure.
But it is not a Christian game in the sense that it has to do with God or it has to do with the Bible in a direct sense.
Right.
Whereas Kings of Israel has everything to do with the Bible and also manages to be a pretty fantastic game.
Yeah.
So what do you like about the game?
Well, I think that this game has a really solid game mechanic.
Yeah.
And so it's really challenging to win.
Yes.
Which I think is really great because you want to have a game that makes you work for it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of variation in it, so there's a lot of opportunity to play it again and have it feel a little bit different each time.
Yeah.
So I think that's fun. I think it's fun for it to be hard while not feeling impossible. It has fun artwork, fun pieces. I mean, obviously this is not the final, right?
Yeah, because we're looking at a Kickstarter, so it's not going to be the final form of it.
So it'll probably just get even better. Yeah.
It just kind of needs to be set up front that it is really similar to Pandemic.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. Right? So, I suspect that the guy who came after Dominion, the first deck builder that came after Dominion was trying to sit there and explain in every situation, well, yes, this is like Dominion and this is like Dominion. And these days we just call it a deck builder. So I suspect that we'll have, like Forbidden Island and Forbidden Desert, a lot of games that have a similar aspect to this. But I would say that this one is way more thematically driven and is more compelling based on how that theme works. I don't think you have to be of a particularly Judeo-Christian background to enjoy it. Though I will say that if you do come from that persuasion, you will probably enjoy it quite a bit because I think it comes up with a really good way of showing the Book of Kings in a very broad game format. I really enjoy it, and I think there are aspects of it that I enjoy more than Pandemic because like you were saying, it changes. The sin and blessing cards are really interesting, and they change every time, and I think that gives it some variety. So where I think Pandemic is really fun because it's challenging, I think this is fun because it's both challenging and has quite a bit more variety. In Pandemic, you're constantly trying to make the better of a terrible decision.
Right.
But in this game, you just never feel like you have enough action points.
Yeah.
Like I always need 5 more resource cards than I have.
Right.
And I never have enough resource cards because I'm using both the resource cards to either try and clear sin, or I'm using it to try and build an altar. And it's so hard to do both because sin is multiplying, and you're just like, I need more resource cards. It costs an action point to do that.
Yeah.
And I think that's fantastic.
So I think that this is a game that we're going to end up playing a bunch of times. It's hard and fun to play. It has a strong 2-player element, so
yes, it's
really fun for us to play together. But I believe that it's going to also have a really fun 3 or 4-player dynamic as well. So I mean, you just has a lot of places where you could play it, a lot of groups of people you could play it with, and I think it does a really great job of walking through Kings, and it's fun.
So thanks for stopping by. Kings of Israel is available now for crowdfunding on Kickstarter, so make sure you check them out. Bing! It's right there.
Somewhere along this hand.
You can click the link and check them out.
Yeah.
Highly recommend you do.
It's fun.
Otherwise, we'll see you guys next time. My face is really bright in this. It's like a scene from Ghost. Like I'm Patrick Swayze. I'm being whisked away.
No, stay here.
You can't see me. You can only talk to me through Whoopi Goldberg.